Back in 1995, there was a new craze in video games, and that was 3D, as in three-dimensional, not 2D flat but 3D, in-your-face, full-functioning, realistic stuff. And at the forefront was Virtua Fighter, a fighting game that was originally an arcade game in '93. It was ported to only a few systems, the Sega Saturn and the Sega 32X, as well as the PlayStation 2 and Windows. Let's pop it in the old Saturn and see how it looks. I'd like to mention an interesting little side note. On the back of the case for Virtua Fighter, there are 4 different ways you can contact Sega online, which was pretty fucking unbelievable in 1995. They had a website listed, an FTP site for God knows what, if you wanted to transfer files with Sega or something. I have no idea what you would use an FTP site for. An email address, and a CompuServe address. That's how old school this is. So as you've already guessed, Virtua Fighter is a fighting game. It's either 2-player or 1-player versus the computer. There's only 8 characters you can choose from, and they're all unlocked right out of the package, because that's how we used to do it back in the day. None of this, you have to play it for a little bit and do some kind of funky achievement to unlock a player. Bullshit. It was all there, ready to go, right out of the box. And if you're from a younger generation, I know what you're thinking already. People used to actually pay money to play this shit. Well, guess what? It's all we had. It was pretty fucking good at the time. We actually did shell out money for it. And this was the height of realism in fighting games when it came out. Although, looking at it today, I must admit, it does look like all the characters are made out of Legos. Let me talk briefly about the premise. I can sum this game up in 4 words. It's a fighting game. No complex plot at all. It's a fighter. That's all it is. And now that we've covered that, let me talk to you about controls. Now this game is a little complex that way because it feels like when you're playing the game, you're moving underwater. You're moving extremely slow. It feels like even though the controls are responsive, it just takes a while for your character to actually complete his motions. And I suspect that's just to add to a bit of the realism of the game, and a little bit of the limitations of the hardware are probably at play. Now, even though the Sega Saturn controller has 6 buttons and 2 bumper buttons plus the D-pad, you only use buttons A, B, and C in this game. A is to block, B is to punch, and C is to kick. Or maybe C is to punch and B is to kick, I'm not sure. So basically you're only using B and C, with the occasional tap to the A button to block. Now each character does have unique special moves, and you perform those by pushing a combination of buttons and directions on the D-pad. They're not easy to master. And that's what makes this game challenging and fun, is that anybody can hop in and just start smashing buttons and punch and kick their way around. But to actually do some special moves and to do things that you intend to do, it takes a little bit of skill and practice. Now as for the look and sound of the game, it's obviously dated, but that has a quaint quality to it. I think it's always neat to pop in a game like Virtua Fighter to take a look at really how far graphics have come in video games since the early days of 3D rendering. Now, since Virtua Fighter was a pack-in game with certain models of the Sega Saturn, there's quite a few of them out there. It's pretty easy to come across, and you can pick it up for only a couple of bucks. But I do think that nostalgia has a bit to play in wanting to actually pick up a copy. If you didn't grow up playing this game or have fond memories of playing it, you probably won't like it too much. And there you have it, Virtua Fighter for the Sega Saturn. I'm Dommy from Classic Games Revisited. Until next time.